kazi.
Ali. Ali.
The cucumber.
Ali.
The cucumber.
2 times I've called your name.
Yes.
How are you, Ali?
Niko salama.
Boss, unapendeza.
Asante.
Look at yourself. How have you been?
Salama kabisa. How
You know,
are
I
you?
saw you a while back.
It's been a minute.
I tell you.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How has everything been?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now even better that we are Maandamano.
Maandamano.
Yes.
Before we go to Maandamano, Ali, happy Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day.
Ali, happy Majamuhuri Day.
Happy Majamuhuri Day.
Ali, happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Ali, happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day to you.
Ali, happy upcoming Mashujaa Day.
Happy
Enjoy-
Mashujaa Day.
Ali Mbwekse.
Mbwekse, brother. Mbwekse.
It really is good to see you, Ali.
It is good to see
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Tell me about Maandamano.
Have you been living under a rock?
Ali,
Have you seen what is happening with Maandamano?
I have one word for you
Yes.
that everybody in Kenya is talking about right now.
Yes.
Gen Z.
Gen Z.
Talk to me.
Gen Z.
What is Gen Z?
Gen Z? You've not seen the kids who've been on the streets? Eh? Gen Zs are people who don't give... they have no fear, first of all. No fear. Yeah. They work with facts. And they're very kind and very respectful.
There's a video.
Yeah?
There's a video I saw the other day on TikTok
Yeah.
of this guy, this
Yeah.
political person. His name is Omosh 1 Hour. I think he's called Omosh 1 Hour.
Yeah.
And he talks about Gen Z.
Yes.
He says, Gen Z, you guys made it to parliament.
Hey!
Kumbe nyinyi mko na roho.
Mimi sina roho. Bwana muko na roho. Bwana muko na roho. Mimi sina roho. Parliament. Munaingia. Munakaa kwa kiti. Munachukua ile kitu. Mimi niko na maini. Sina roho.
Courage. I mean, if you were to define Gen Z, you must mention courage. They're very knowledgeable. I mean, those guys have guts.
See, from what I understand, Gen Zs were born around what, 1987? 86, 87?
96, 97 onwards.
Oh, 96. Okay. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
96, 97.
Yeah.
So
I
anybody
think-
that was before that,
Millennials.
or millennial.
Only millennials. So, where uko millennials about Gen X?
Cheza chini. Cheza chini bwana.
Mimi niko pale kwa boda.
I'll be honest with you, Ali. I had no idea. I'm going to Google it after this.
Yes.
And I will let you know which gen I am. Yeah.
Okay.
Because from what I understand, it's never been a big issue for me what gen I am. But
I highly think you're a millennial.
I could be a millennial.
I'd bet on
Okay,
you
so
being
which
a
one is
millennial.
millennial?
I think millennial is 1985 to now 95, 96.
Ali bwana.
Yeah.
Ali cheza chini.
So, you're before that?
Yes.
Wow. You guys are the problem. You are the problem. Yeah, Gen X.
Can I tell
Guys
you?
who are fed fear. And they fed it to the millennials.
Ali tulichapwa. We were tulichapwa.
Walai.
Do you know we have this thing called red berets. Do you know red berets?
Yes.
Pale GSU.
Yes.
We used to call them mchwa.
Aha.
If they land during a protest, game over. Those people would beat everything, including chicken. Kuku inapita quickly.
Yay.
Boss. So yeah, I think we thrived on fear. My generation, we thrived on fear. But it's interesting, right?
Thrived or limited by fear?
Both. Both. I want to say both because we ended up being who we are.
Yeah.
Most of us made it up to the point where, we said, Moi must go.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But then that's the moment where we said, you know what, enough is enough. However, the situation was just right. Was it 2002?
Yes.
The situation was just right. And it was coming to a point where MO1 Moi
Yes.
had said, enough is enough. Do you know what? Let me give the people what they want. Because you cannot fight a people forever.
True.
One person cannot fight a whole generation of people forever.
And you guys fought Moi for long, eh?
Eh.
It started in 92.
Eh.
So you guys fought Moi for like a
I
decade.
think earlier.
Yeah?
So you know the Saba that people talk about?
Yes.
It started in my generation.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Ali, I think I was in grade 3 or something.
Yes.
And what happened is, I think I was in class one day. I talk about this in my episode. We were learning about Christian religious education. I don't know if you know religious
CRE.
education. CRE. My teacher at the time, Mrs. Muli,
Yes.
bless her.
Uh-huh.
Now, Mrs. Muli was teaching us how we should never fear. Do you know religious education? You should never fear.
Yeah.
It was the time, I'm not sure what had happened, but either people were fighting for multipartism or Ouko had been killed. But then it was a series of things that culminated into another thing that led to another. Now, we lived in a university.
Yeah.
And this university was known as the most chaotic university that you would ever wish for as a leader. Now, these years, people would go for a year and a half for what they called NYS.
It was mandatory, yeah?
National Youth Service, where you had to go and learn to be hardened. You had to learn these skills that made you powerful and strong. And then you would come out of there after, I think it was 18 months or 16 months, whatever period of time it was. And when people came out of here, they were tough. They were strong. They feared no police.
Yeah.
Rumor has
it's
it.
paramilitary training.
It is.
NYS.
It was at the time. It
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
I think they changed it. You learned how to drive, how to build bridges. You learned how to fight for your country.
How to survive in the jungle.
You learned how to survive in the jungle. You learned how to be a parent. You learned how to resist. You learned how to submit. You learned
Wow.
everything. Rumor has it that in the 90s, because there were so many protests at the time, that was the reason why NYS stopped being mandatory. Because these kids came out of NYS and joined university,
Emboldened.
got that education, and became so powerful, so educated,
Yeah.
and I don't want to say defiant, but I mean, I think they were. Strike ilikuwa ina happen Ali, came over. Anyway, back to class. So Mrs. Muli is teaching us about you should never fear. And then just a little bit, some students smelled this tear gas. I didn't know it was tear gas at the time. And she said, what's that smell? And then just a little bit, people started coughing.
Yeah.
We're kids, we're in school. And before you know it,
Tear gas.
gunshots or blasts
Wow.
coming from right outside our school fence. Ali, that thing smelled so bad. Ask me where Mrs. Muli was with all her don't fear. We used to have a closet in our classroom. There was only one. It
Like
would
a
fit-
cupboard.
Cupboard. We called it cupboard.
Cupboard.
It could fit one person. She was the only one in the closet.
What?
She was the only one in the closet.
And then you guys fed
We
for
were
yourself.
screaming. We ran outside. One of the kids apparently knew what to do. So she kept saying, water, go get water. So as soon as we walked out of the grade 4 classroom, it was,
Yeah.
and then we overlooked the field, the football field. There were university students all over the field.
Yeah.
Ali, there was chaos, and cops had come into school. School was shut. It was around 10 a.m.
And so this was tear gas shot at a school, a primary school.
Yes. So what had happened was the university students had gone onto the main road, on Thika Road.
Yes.
And then they had ran and chased the cops all the way mpaka huko Kawasukari.
Yeah.
Now, between Kawasukari and KU is quite a distance. But there was a river that fell, a stream or a river, we called it Kichocho. There was a river that fell and it passed across our school. So the cops chased the students back into KU, but then the students, knowing that they could be cornered between
Yeah.
KU and Kawasukari, they jumped over the fence, or rather they tore the fence down and ran into our school.
Wow.
Where? That was my first time ever seeing tear gas.
Because now that you're mentioning this tear gas in a school, I'm relating it to the current happenings where we had just the other day, tear gas that was shot into a maternity hospital at the coast in Mombasa.
I saw that.
Just the other day. You can imagine, tear gas. There's a kid who's been reported in the protests that a kid died from suffocation from tear gas.
Allah?
Yes. Then another day of protests, and the police shoot at a maternity hospital where there are infants.
So who was protesting in the maternity hospital?
None. There were collateral damage.
Hey.
Yeah. And this was in the 90s, right? That was in the 90s.
Yeah, but back in the 90s, it was order of the day.
Now this is 2024.
2024, boss.
So the police force, the police service now, they still same script.
That's almost 35 plus years later.
Yeah, 25 plus years
Bana
later.
tunafaa tuamshwe bana.
Same script.
We need to wake up.
Yeah.
We need to wake up. Yeah. We need to. I think we need to do better.
But I like the way the Gen Zs have come out in numbers. Me, I have never felt more proud of being a Kenyan than in the last 2 weeks.
You know, I'm telling you about the 90s.
Yeah.
Let me explain to you what you saw during this Gen Z protest.
That wasn't there.
Never there. Mm-hmm. Girls.
Oh, yes.
Boss. There were men, young women, both taking to the streets.
But women in the numbers.
Loads of them.
Yes.
Walking, taking to the... Do you know in the 90s, it was mostly men. You mostly saw... If you saw a woman, it was one or two, and chances were they were politicians, right?
Or they were the student leaders,
exactly,
at the time.
But this Gen Z, this 2024 protest,
I saw lots of ladies were in the streets protesting.
This is when you know that people have said enough is enough.
And that's how you know that the protests were peaceful.
And that's how you know that the process is going to be peaceful.
Because women felt safe enough to come out and protest.
Yes. And they felt
Big up.
And they believed that they would be protected if they walked out in the streets.
Yes.
With their fellow Kenyans that cared about the cause that they were fighting for. It is an absolutely different protest. And Gen Z boss, Nyinyi, us as the other generation. Hi, boss. Hatuna roho. The Gen Zs, you people are tough. You people care. And you people have, do you know, you assembled. The most important thing that I think this protest has taught me.
Yes.
You do not need one person standing on a podium at a market rally or coming on TV and telling you, all you people that believe in this need to come here and do this. No. All you need is the same people that have the same course to come in and put themselves together and say, enough is enough, or this is what we want, or this is what we love, or this is what we want to protest about. Unbelievable.
I love it. I love that. For the first time in a long time, actually in my lifetime now, that I can say I felt there was no tribalism. There was no we are following this leader or nothing. No politicians involved. No one paid to attend the protests. No one funding these things. Because you've seen how this gava has been running up and down looking for the sponsors.
Do you know?
Mpaka Illuminati walikuwa sponsors.
Wale watu wanasponsor maandamano hapa Nairobi ni group inajiita Illuminati. Na sijui kama nyinyi mnajua Illuminati ni akina nani.
What are you saying? What are you saying? What is he saying?
Illuminatis were dragged into this. They were just chilling.
What was the business with that Illuminati business?
Maze.
And I was thinking, well, if Illuminati is sponsoring this protest, tax the Illuminati, get the money that you want.
You know?
Boss.
As in, like, no sponsor, no nothing, same goal.
Illuminati.
That one was like, I was just like, wow. Yeah. Then there was the one for those photos out there of the protests are fake. Then I am a photo editor. You know, that was also hilarious.
Because even some of the photos that we were seeing out of the streets, I can tell you as a graphic editor that they do not belong to this country.
that was a little bit disappointing for a leader that we were very passionate about as a young person, to go out there and spit out such shocking statements.
I was very disappointed in that guy, because I was like, isn't this guy who used to mock Moi using the ridiculous comedy in the 90s?
Thank you. It's the same guy.
And I was just like, oh my God, our system is rotten. that
Unbelievable.
guy could say such things when there are people out there protesting. But anyway, we digress.
Do you know, Ali, I need to mention something. At the time that those statements of Illuminati is sponsoring the Gen Z protest, the statements like these Gen Zs are coming out to protest with their iPhones and
Using
and
Ubers.
Uber coming in with their Ubers to
And
protest.
going to eat at KFC.
Thank you. At the time, statements like Gen Zs are coming out here.
Yeah.
And what is it called? Photoshopping photos, like AI,
Yes.
their photos,
Yes.
and then they're being masquerading as protest.
Yes.
At the time those statements were being given out, the protests were absolutely safe. They
Peaceful.
were very peaceful.
Yes.
Then it changed. And I need to tell you one thing I noticed. Most people that were, when you notice the new wave of protests that are happening,
Yes.
you rarely see women.
Yes, actually, in the was it this past week, we had less and less women attending, and even less and less Gen Zs. Yeah, the goons, maze.
I think they're goons. And I honestly think, is it possible?
Yeah.
Is it possible, Ali, that the protests have been overtaken by another power?
Of course, the protests have been hijacked. It goes without saying, because in the last week, or last 2 weeks, the protests were peaceful. We had water, placards. People, for the first time, Maandamano was happening, and I never had people reporting that, oh, I lost my phone. Oh,
Do you know?
no.
And
There
shops
was
were
no
not-
destruction of property. In fact, shops were open as the protests were happening.
And shops were giving people water,
and food.
toilets, free toilets. Come in and use our toilets.
Yes. They were giving them shelter when they're running away from being the tear gas,
There
the
were
police.
performances out in the streets.
But then after now, we started seeing the goons infiltrating. No, shops are closed.
Then we started seeing waves of people. I saw a video the other day of these traders. They call themselves traders from Luthuli Avenue. And they had, what do you call them?
Like batons,
Batons
like wooden
and sticks. Wooden sticks. And
Yeah.
apparently they were protecting their shops from protesters or so-called protesters who were coming that were likely to loot their shops. It is at that moment that I realized, things are different here. This could be a different fight.
The movement was powerful. It was powerful. We were heard, not only in Kenya, but internationally. 13 countries give statements from the EU, America, Canada. We had people tweeting about it. They reject the finance bill 2024. We got the finance bill rejected. So it was a force. So, of course, now, who stands to lose?
Do you know what I think? I think because the protests are going this hard, I think because the protests are becoming more violent now, people are so focused on what is happening. People are so focused on the people that are looting.
Yes.
And so the protests or the whole course is being demonized into looting and property being lost and people dying. So people are so focused on, okay, so cops have shot this person. So this person is dead. People are focused on these people are stealing from people. People are being looted. Shops are being broken into.
Yes.
But people forget why the course started in the first place, right? And Ali, I know you and I spoke about this in the last, in another season. We talked about different types of people in a social unrest, in a
during
civil
protests,
unrest,
yeah.
during a protest, right? And I remember we got this from this lady called Kimberly Jones.
Yes.
In her YouTube rant, it's called How Will They Win? How Can They Win? How Can They Win?
How can they win?
And she talks about, she says that in a civil unrest or in a public unrest,
Yeah.
there are three types of people. There are protesters, and there are looters or thieves or goons, and then there are rioters. Now, the protesters, they care. They want to have their voice heard. They care about the cause, and they bring their placards, and they just want to be heard. The rioters are angry, yeah? And they're frustrated with the system, and they just want to break things up. They want
Yes.
things down, they want it off gone.
They're fully expressing their anger.
If you notice what's happening with the protests right now,
Yes.
most people are focused on the looters and the goons,
And attention is being diverted
including
from
the public
protesters.
and the cops, right?
Yes.
So the attention diverts from, okay, this is all about, we want a whole new system. We want a whole new political system. We want a whole new philosophy in our leadership. We want accountable leadership. People are so focused on property that's being broken, property that's being lost, people losing their iPhone. But people forget that why? Why is it? It's 2024, and a young kid who is educated enough can risk their life to go to a coffee shop, Cafe, what was the name of the coffee shop in Mombasa?
I think it was cafe.
You and I were
Yeah.
talking about that kid. What was he carrying?
It carried like boxes. It looked like boxes of pizza or
A
something.
box of pizza.
Like
Now,
not even a plate or a spoon that he can keep. Like it was a box of something.
why should a kid 20-something years old, educated enough, went to school, studied, went
Yeah.
probably to university, should they think, I don't care anymore. I want to go into this coffee shop and get this pizza box. CCTVs everywhere, media everywhere.
People are outside recording.
People are outside recording. Isitoshe.
The cops were not far away.
Worst, mob justice. Why should somebody risk to that level in 2024? That's why people, that's a question people should be asking themselves. And I honestly think it's the huge divide between the poor and the rich. The poor have been so frustrated for so long, watching and observing the rich get richer.
Yeah.
And in her analogy, Kimberly Jones, she uses the American analogy, and she talks about how she uses the analogy of monopoly, and talks about the idea of slavery and how black people ended up being very poor. And she says, if we were to play a game of Monopoly for 400 rounds and you're not allowed to win,
You'd be far ahead.
and every single thing that you take, you're not allowed to win. You don't get any money. The other person wins every time, 400 rounds. So even if you win money, you give it to the other person. And then after 400 rounds,
Now you can start winning.
but even if you win, you got to
You'll
give
never
half
catch
of
up.
it to the other person.
Yeah.
So even if we have to use the same analogy, if you look at the onset of independence, when we started, when we were declared an independent state, there was already a huge divide of people that were wealthy and people that had no idea what was going on. Now, the people that had an idea what was going on, in my opinion, it was their responsibility to educate the other people so then they grow together.
Yes, and establish policies that ensure redistribution of resources and power equally so that then there's not that big a divide. You don't have that divide.
Gonga up.
Yeah?
Gonga. In my opinion, that is the biggest problem.
But you know, our political elite have continued with the same, and this is the core of this protest, I think, because we've continued with these same extractive systems, the same extractive policies since independence, and it's been a slow, it's been churning slowly. Then things went boiling and boiling and boiling. And you noticed over Uhuru's term, we had quite a number of Maandamanos.
Plenty.
And then now, we were at the boiling point, melting point, we were bursting. And that's what we're seeing. Because not only have the Gen Zs observed what their parents have had to struggle in taking care of them, they are seeing that even they are going to have to relive that same cycle, even worse.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
And now this is an educated lot.
Do you know, Ali, when Kibaki came into power, he gave Kenyans something very special. Do you remember what it was?
Yeah, I'm happy. Me, I'm a fruit of that.
What was it?
Free primary education.
Free primary education.
Me, I'm like, go Kibaki, wherever you are, may you rest in peace.
Man.
Because, you did your part. Now, let us.
This is what happens when you educate a generation. This is what happens when you educate people. People become aware.
Exactly. Yeah, and you cannot fool people for
Boss.
so long. You can only fool them for so long.
There was a song that protesters were singing. Wametuzoea, wametuzoea, wametuzoea.
Ni ukweli wametuzoea. I mean, what was that impunity we got from them?
Messed up.
That you can have. I mean, this is one of the lowest moments for me. I mean, when we think of the deaths, that was bad. But the fact that there were protesters outside Parliament chanting, reject the bill. They're outside and you're inside their house and you pass it. Like, that was it for me. I was like, no, all of them, they have to go.
Yeah.
They have to go.
I think
Starting with the ones who voted yes and the ones who were absent. They have to go. Because there's no fence sitting in this. You are either yes or no. And if you did not show up to vote on such an important bill, a bill that the whole nation was protesting, even people in Turkana were protesting.
Do you know, Ali, when is the last time you saw people in Turkana protesting politically?
People in Marsabit
Boss.
protested. Don't you? This thing was crazy.
The other day, people in Kisii got up and said enough is enough. Boss.
So, I mean, that's the beauty of this, that unlike the Maandamanos that I have witnessed in the past regime or maybe in the past year, that we see Maandamano being a Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu affair. But this one, 35 counties protesting.
Everyone.
I mean, yo, power to the Gen Zs.
Nyinyi Gen Z.
Power.
You guys are powerful.
Exactly.
You guys are powerful.
Exactly.
And I really...
You're who you think you are.
Yeah. Ali, you know what I think? I really wish that they do not play to the political design. I hope that Gen Zs do not play to the political design that is common in many of our systems.
Yes, because violence is the language of the politician.
So violence is one of them. So they will bring into that design. The other design they would do, they will try and designate somebody who speaks on behalf of Gen Z, which is what I see them try to do constantly.
You see, they've tried in the last week or so to strong arm the Gen Zs into giving them a leader. But, I mean, part of the strength of this movement, it's leaderless. And that's why not only our protests, yes, we have the scheduled ones for Tuesdays and Thursdays, but I also saw guys protesting on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, we truly are leaderless, because who organized for those ones for Sunday?
Who organized the ones in DC?
Yes. Who organized the ones in Paris?
In Paris and Ireland.
In Washington?
Boss.
Yeah, in LA.
In LA.
Yes.
People were, yeah. So.
And in London has joined Kenyans in London in chanting Ruto must go.
What?
Yeah. I think it's the same for Belgium. And I was like,
I saw one in Germany as well, I think.
Is it Germany
Berlin
or Belgium? The one where they said even the drunk guy did better than this.
Oh yeah,
one.
that was, no, I think that was in Dublin, right? Or was it Germany?
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not sure.
Germany then.
The
Is it Ireland or Germany? We'll
It's
confirm.
below the belt. Please, you people, no.
No. But I was like, if you got a white person to join the protest, then then this one must be really, really bad.
I saw a meme.
Yeah.
Actually, this sounds really bad, but it was one of the signs.
Yeah.
And it was one of Kenyan Indian person who held it up.
Even the Indians are here. It's so bad the Indians
He
are
said,
here.
ukiona waindi wamejoin ni kubaya.
Nikubaya. But anyway, that one I feel ish about it because first of all, you shouldn't be that passive,
No.
as Indians. But anyway, I get it in that it's so bad that even the groups that are ordinarily quiet showed up.
Mm-hmm. Ali, I think when we come back, we need to talk about what possible ways should Gen Zs go so then their course remains, their struggle remains on course.
Because this thing has to keep going. We can't turn back now. We cannot relent.
Even if it doesn't keep going, it has to bear fruit. And
No.
to be...
It has to go. You see now the goal is not to reject the finance bill. That was just one of the many. All the corrupt leaders have to go. They have to be prosecuted. The monies have to be recovered. IBC has to be reconstituted.
Oh, hatuna IBC.
Yeah, we don't have an IBC.
So we can't even go for elections.
We cannot do the recalls. So far, we are only collecting signatures, but we cannot go any further because we do not have an IBC. I wonder if that was by design of it, if it was by default or if it was intentional. I'm tempted. I'm tempted to think it was
a year and a half. Is it a year?
There's a whole
is it 2 years?
constituency that has not been represented from 2022. They've not had an MP from 20. Is it Matiga or where? Yeah.
Oh yes, an MP I think passed away or something.
And there's one that the courts nullified the
Yeah,
elections.
yeah.
So they've not been represented for over a year.
So how?
So tell me why the IEBC has not been reconstituted since. Was that by default? Was that intentional? We'll know. Let's discuss this in the next episode as we see how we can... The fire has to go. And Ruto?
My opinion is even if a fire dies, it has to die to the point where the sustainable solution
Has
is
been
met.
achieved.
Then the fire can blend in and be, a result.
Now fuel, the new change that we
Okay.
want to see. Yeah, there I agree.
Ali.
Yeah.
Mbwekse.
Bokse.
Ali.
Yes, the cucumber.
Ali.
The cucumber.
Ali.
Yes.
What would happen when two Nilotes enter a pod? Two strangers from the Nilotic tribes of East Africa.
I am the Kikombe.
And I am Ali.
And thank you for being here.